Hi everybody, welcome to Daily Deco. Today's episode of Daily Deco is sponsored by, I don't know, anybody that's sort of anything that's in your stock on our website, basically.
No, it's sponsored by your beard.
By my beard.
Yes.
My beard is sponsoring today's episode. Yeah.
It feels weird,
Mark's
doesn't
beard.
it? Not opening up a Daily Deco and not talking about Teesprings.
Yeah, it's quite a relief, actually. The show's going to be about 5 minutes shorter than it usually is, but yeah. I'm still representing though. I'm wearing my Bolt Snap t-shirt.
I've got my bear t-shirt on that my aunt gave me for Christmas.
Rawr.
Yeah, mate.
Very seasonal. But yeah, if you're interested, you can still head over to the Teespring store and sort of check out our designs. So as far as new stuff on the Simply Scuba website, all sorts of bits and bobs. Later on, I'm going to be doing later on in the week, I'm going to be doing a kind of a new in. So getting back into the sort of scuba diving equipment. You guys always used to love the sort of the new gear, sort of new in videos. So we're going back to those. It's going to be a little bit different because I'm not in the warehouse, so I don't have all the stuff with me, so it's just going to be stills, unfortunately. But I'm going to break down some new interesting things that I've noticed popping up on the website. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Don't forget to sort of like and subscribe if you haven't already. It makes a really big difference, and it's free. So let me just pick out one quick thing. Just roam around the website. Fourth Element's surface wetsuit. So the surface wetsuit is very different, mainly because it's grown. So instead of like petroleum-based neoprene, this is made out of something weird. They basically grow it. I don't actually have the information in front of me, but yeah, it's eco-friendly. It's all kind of recycled, and it's kind of grown. And this is like a 4.3 mil, and it's more of a surface wetsuit for more sort of surface active sports. So it's going to be a bit more flexible. It has that weird for us, but not for surfers. It's like a C-zip across the chest. So you poke your head through a hole, and then you kind of have this flap that goes over the top, and then the flap kind of zips across your chest. So you don't have one straight down your back, or you don't have one all the way across your body. So actually, yeah, it looks kind of cool, and it's that kind of navy blue, so it's not black, the same as everyone else's black wetsuit. And it's much more eco-friendly, so it's definitely worth checking out. So yeah, there is.
It's grown in the same lab where they made those chicken nuggets.
They were like, oh, we can't make chicken nuggets anymore. What can we make? Well, it's quite thermal. It has quite good thermal capacity. Let's turn it into neoprene. And they're like, well, yeah, it already comes out in sheets, and it's already naturally blue in colour. So
No, that's me.
No. Anyway, so moving on to news stories. So. It's been a while since I've seen you guys, or you've seen me, or at least in this kind of more interactive state, because I filmed a lot of stuff before the Christmas period. So there's been quite a few news stories come out. Shaun actually managed to steal quite a lot of the good ones yesterday.
You're welcome.
I know. So, and the thing is that I found a lot of those news stories.
You found all of them? I didn't find any of them. I was just like, oh, there's a list there. I'm just going to cherry pick the cooler ones for myself. Paste. Happy days. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, you stole the octopus punching one, which I really wanted to do. They're just like, oh, no, you fish, boff. Anyway, so the first news story, this one comes from, I want to say, was this Florida? Yeah, so this is a diver off the coast of Florida, and apparently it's not unusual to find sort of shark teeth sort of on the bottom, and a few sort of fossils just sort of around the waters, and you can even on some occasions find some megalodon teeth, and these are quite rare, obviously. And bear in mind, the largest ever megalodon tooth, I believe, is 7.2 inches or something, and that's on the sort of the long side, just one side of the triangle of the tooth is about 7 inches, so that's pretty darn big. This guy found one that was 6 inches sort of long. So that's a pretty large find.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was just kind of cruising around and sort of found one of these things. Apparently the most common size of Megalodon teeth is somewhere between 3 to 5 inches. So yeah, 6 inches is a real find. And yeah, it's pretty cool. We used to have one of these at the dive center that I used to work at, and that just went missing one day.
Oh yeah.
It's not. I don't have it. I don't know who has it. It just disappeared. Basically,
hey, Mark,
we used to have.
You looks like you've got a necklace on. It looks like there's something quite chunky over your t-shirt.
This thing was huge. No, we used to have like 2 stores in 2 different sort of neighbouring towns, and when we closed one of them down, it was in that sort of store, and it disappeared in the move. I don't know who has it, but it's gone basically. And
he's got it.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
He discovered it in the ocean. He went to Ipswich all those years ago, found it, and he just kind of just put it in the water and was like, oh,
here it is.
It was him.
It is quite cool. But then you suddenly get that sort of sense of scale when you're holding this thing and it's like the size of your hand, and you're like, this is just one of their teeth. And that had like rows and rows of them, and you suddenly get this kind of sense of scale, and you're like, ooh, Megalodons were freaking huge.
What do you mean were? Oh, mate, they still exist. That well-known documentary. That's right, guys. 2021. The Meg.
No, they would have evolved just to be smaller, basically.
Oh. They evolved to live under this, like a gas or some sort of filter on the Mariana Trench.
Because science.
Exactly.
The next news story is aimed at dog owners, which I am.
Bad people.
But more specifically, dog owners that feed their dogs a krill-based diet. They're basically saying that if you feed your dogs krill-based dog food, you could actually be like killing penguins. So it's direct. It's a stretch.
No, it's not a stretch. It is direct. You're a penguin murderer, Mark.
It's not as if you're feeding your dogs sort of ground up penguins or anything.
Basically, you are.
But scientists they kind of looked and sort of seen this trend in sort of krill-based foods, and they're like, well, actually, if you're taking it from the oceans, that's what the penguins are, I presume, indirectly eating, because I don't believe penguins, or many penguins, eat krill. They tend to eat fish, which
the vegan ones,
eat the krill.
The vegan penguins, they love.
But krill are like little shrimp. They're animals. They're not plants.
Oh, damn it! Why did I think of plants?
You're thinking of plankton.
Yeah, it was too early in the morning for this.
I can tell you the difference between phytoplankton and zooplankton.
Nah, you're all right, thanks. Carry on with the story.
Phytoplankton are the plant-based bits of plankton, whereas zooplankton are little, like, tiny animals.
Zooplankton? They grow in zoos?
Yeah. They probably do, to be honest, but no, normally in the ocean. But basically, if you're farming all of this krill, then, of course, the fish that eat the krill, they don't have the food, so they start to die out. And then the penguins that eat the fish that eat the krill, they don't have any food. So, yeah, just to feed your dog, you're actually killing a penguin, apparently. Bad.
Get cats, guys. There's no krill in cat food.
Oh, that's a big promise.
I guarantee, Mark guarantees, there's no krill in cat food. In meat pouches. Meat.
A study published in the journal Ambio suggests increases in krill fishing catch had negative impacts on local populations of chinstrap and gentoo penguins, especially during the warm years. So yeah, this is actually a serious thing. So that if you do have dogs, check out the dog food and just double check what the constituents are. I had a quick look at Rupert and Darcy's sort of ingredients list, and it's all kosher, it's all good stuff.
Yeah, right.
But and no krill. No, it's just 100% krill.
Krill, yeah.
Southern Ocean krill.
Darcy can't get enough of the stuff.
She's a predator, she is. But yeah, no, it is something that we need to bear in mind, sort of think about where the food is coming from. And if it is krill, then yeah, obviously we're taking it from another ecosystem. So yeah, you do need to bear in mind where that kind of food is coming from. It's all very well and good you eating sort of healthy and sort of not sort of dolphin-friendly tuna and all that kind of stuff if you do eat tuna. But yeah, dog food.
What they need to do in the lab where they grow the fourth element wetsuit and the chicken nuggets, they need to have a krill office and grow.
Well, we
krill
spoke
there.
about. That's a good idea, actually, because we spoke about that about a year ago or something, and someone's managed to like 3D print meat, and you and I, we were discussing sort of whether you'd sort of eat it, and it's like, well, technically there's nothing wrong with it. If anything, it's like healthier. Dog doesn't mind. I don't know how like eco-conscious or sort of environmentally friendly the actual manufacturing process is, but nothing had to die for it. They did have to take like a sample. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, they do take a small sample of sort of muscle tissue, and then they basically grow it and replicate it from that. Yeah. But
so when they 3D print stuff, yeah, is it like a normal printer? So like basically, you know when you purchase a new printer and then you've got to buy a new cartridge, it's cheaper to buy a whole new printer. So it might hurt the economy that way, or the environment that way. Just all these 3D printers.
Maybe. Although I did see, I saw a headline yesterday, and that was MIT students have 3D printed a hydrogel tentacle. So they basically print this like squidgy tentacle, and then they laser cut sort of bands on it, and then when they do something to it, I didn't actually read the article, but when they like apply something to it, it sort of bends, and they're thinking this could be the next sort of underwater like grappling hand or whatever, so that they can like manipulate things underwater. And I didn't understand why they were kind of showing off this thing, and it's like bright red, and it sort of bends, and you're like, oh, okay. And then they showed it catching a goldfish, and you're like, why are you trying to catch a goldfish? Why not just a Lego brick or something? That I didn't quite understand. But
because goldfish were cheaper than Lego bricks.
That's probably true, to be honest. Lego is expensive.
It's cool though. I love Lego.
Yeah. Oh yeah, everybody does. I just don't like paying for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't even remember. So we started off like dog food, killing penguins, and then we got onto Lego. But anyway, I'll research that and I'll talk about that later. The next news story, this one comes from Bermuda, I believe, and they just had their sort of yearly Grand Prix lionfish catching competition. So in previous years, way back. So if you didn't know, lionfish, there's a huge epidemic of lionfish in the Caribbean and around the Americas in general, because they're just this invasive species that shouldn't be there. They're not endemic to that area, but someone brought them like in like the 80s or 90s or whenever it was. And they've just been spreading like wildfire because nothing really catches them, but they are voracious predators and they breed just very quickly. So to try and combat this, because they're just destroying the local ecosystem, a lot of people, so they go out and they purposely go to hunt these lionfish, and they usually have this sort of yearly event where it's like a week long, and you basically have to catch as many or like the best catch or the sort of the prettiest one and all that kind of stuff. And Obviously, due to sort of the COVID pandemic, it's been a little bit hard because it used to be this whole get-together. Everyone would sort of come and they'd be sort of cooking and eating the lionfish and all this kind of award ceremony and whatnot. Obviously, they couldn't do that this year because it's a little bit hard. So what they basically did is they kind of came up with an app on your smartphone, and they basically created this new sort of angler portal that you could basically upload your catch to, and then you'd be judged sort of upon that. And so there were 15 teams that all took part in November last year, and 29 separate anglers, sort of free divers and scuba divers as well. And they're I said it was a week long, it's actually a month long. So they were just sort of going to try and sort of catch as many as possible and just sort of have a good time, as it were. Yeah. And so the official results have come in, and the most lionfish caught in the team category, because you had like individuals, so you were sort of graded based on each individual sort of spearfisher, and then you had teams. So the first place, although there is a typo, it's 1 SRT. So the first place goes to the Grim Reefers, which was Chris Cabral, Mark Outerbridge, and James Atterley. They caught 291 lionfish. Second place went to the Sexy Reef Ambassadors.
Yeah, baby.
Natalie Price, Tim Price, Lee Conway, and Kyle Smith. They caught 88. So there's this huge disparity between first place and second place. But if you then go down to sort of the individual who caught the most, I think it's mainly the super predator known as Chris Cabral, because he alone in that month caught 147. So he was just in the waters, just straight up murdering all these fish, just one after the other. 147. That's like 2 or 3 a day for like the entire month, just straight up catching these fish. Impressive. Yeah. But they also had sort of prizes for the largest lionfish, that went to Carl Smith. The smallest lionfish, that went to Mark Outerbridge. Best team photo was the Sexy Reef Ambassadors, and best individual photo went to Stuart Joblin. So yeah, it's all kind of interesting because they had to do it slightly differently. Instead of everyone sort of coming all together to kind of show off their catch, it was all done more sort of digitally, and it seems to have worked. The team sort of paid it off, and I presume there were quite a few sort of stringent rules on. Obviously, you can't just upload any photo. It has to be a certain sort of set of guidelines, so they know you're not cheating. And hopefully one day we can. I don't know if they're ever going to completely catch every single lionfish and return it back to a natural state, because there's just, I think when they breed in like the hundreds or thousands. Each female produces hundreds or thousands of eggs. So it's a losing battle, but I think they're definitely doing their best.
Yeah, that's amazing. I hate lionfish. They suck.
I mean, they're cool. They're cool to look at the first few times, and they're very sort of spacey in the way that they can just kind of hover and kind of pivot, sort of in the water, sort of motionless. But they're not a nice species outside of their natural habitat. Because they eat anything and nothing eats them. So it's really tough to try and get rid of that problem.
That sucks.
Whilst talking about invasive species, or species being in new places that they're not sort of used to, so a video has sort of popped up online from the Shetland Islands, which is if you picture the United Kingdom, you've got Scotland at the top. Like halfway between Scotland and Norway, pretty much, is the Shetland Islands. They're off kind of like in the middle of the ocean. And And there's a group of people, they basically, they saw a bit of commotion in the water and a seal kind of swimming onto the shore. And they're like, oh yeah, a seal. And then there's like 3 killer whale orcas kind of chasing it down. And they're like, oh. So yeah, this seems to be a common occurrence now with just kind of killer whales just... branching out, because normally you see them in like a few key areas, normally in pretty cold waters up towards Norway, but we're seeing them in the Med, we're seeing them off the coast of the United Kingdom, we're seeing them sort of all over the place, and they're getting quite pushy and quite aggressive towards like even boat owners. Apparently one actually broke the hull of a boat, I believe I heard somewhere. So yeah, this seems to be a new thing that we need to kind of be aware of when we're allowed back into the water, into the British waters. Maybe we need to be considering, we need to check if there are any killer whales in the water.
How weird, mate.
Yeah. Luckily, the seal makes it away, and sort of the thing is that so there's this, it's like this really rocky shoreline, and the people are on this kind of shoreline, kind of recording the event, and the seal kind of like makes it out to safety, and the killer whales are like meters away from it. He's like, oh, I'm safe. He then sort of looks around and sees these people, and he's like, oh, I don't like the look of them neither. Kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. So he kind of goes back in the water. You're like, no, stay out. You're a lot safer with us than you are with the killer whales.
Yeah.
But yeah, these things kind of herding it around and like trying to catch it. You're like, oh, Struth. But yeah,
I love orcas. They can come in our waters anytime. I don't mind, as long as they don't eat basking sharks. We're fine.
I'll be impressed. I don't know, actually, because they do kill, like, what do you call it?
Great whites?
Oh. Yeah, they kill great whites. They also kill a lot of sort of whale species as well, so who knows?
Basically, the only thing we need to do to get rid of orcas in the water is for the Meg to resurface. That's the only thing.
No, because that's the Simpsons paradox, where you just kind of like, you bring the snakes in, and then you have to get the gorillas to eat the snakes. But then you're just stuck with gorillas.
So
no, what we need is much like Barracuda, just send the free divers in with some pole spears to kill the killer whales.
Yeah! Because that'll work.
Imagine.
Aim for the blowhole.
Oh, dear. No, obviously don't do that. We're just joking around.
I'm not.
But
I am.
But yeah, there seems to be a growing thing this year of killer whales.
This year?
Yeah, popping up. Well, yeah, it was predominantly last year, but now it's kind of obviously spreading into this year, where killer whales are just popping up everywhere, and they are causing a bit of trouble because they're very clever. They work in a team. They're pretty big, and they are good at throwing their weight around.
Right.
And they're smart. So yeah, I don't know. It's something that we definitely need to keep an eye on. I don't know what we can do about it, but
I'm not worried until they start growing feet and I go down Canterbury High Street and they're doing shopping or something. Shopping, do you remember that? That was funny.
You do it online in your underpants.
Yeah, exactly. High Street, what's that all about?
We need to hire them as delivery drivers.
Yeah. Oh, my life.
Although I did read somewhere that I think a lot of marine mammals are susceptible to coronavirus.
Of course they are. They're just they're just going to outlive us. That's what they're doing. They caused this virus. The orcas and the seals, they got together. It's all a show. They were the ones that created COVID. That's amazing.
So there's a headline: the COVID-19 slowdown will show where the quieter seas help killer whales. What?
Oh yeah.
So this is, I don't. You know when you click on a random headline and then you read a little bit deeper and it's a little bit weird. So this is from the SmithsonianMagazine.com. The headline is: the COVID-19 slowdown will show where the quieter seas help killer whales. And then the subtitle is: with the help of a poop-sniffing dog, scientists are on the scent of a troubled species.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently there's a dog that sort of sniffs for floating killer whale poop to sort of track them down.
And that dog eats krill, so he's killing penguins. He's helping one, but he's destroying the other.
He's a madman. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is definitely going to be one of those stories that just kind of keeps evolving and keeps changing. Because there was one sort of headline, again, I didn't get a chance to read it this morning, but something about a killer whale was beached on the shores of the United Kingdom. I don't remember where. But yeah,
they're learning. Evolution, they're beaching themselves. Now they're testing.
This is how it works.
Yeah.
Just need to get a little bit further up.
Each generation.
No, it was recovered and they basically pushed it back into the water. But yeah, they're branching out. They're doing new and interesting things. These killer whales or orcas. I love the way that their name is very dependent on what they're doing. So if it's like conservation, they're orcas, because that's a nice name. But if they're like killing things, they're killer whales. Yeah. Even though that's an incorrect translation.
Yeah,
from
they're not
Portuguese
whales
or something.
They're not whales.
No, they're not whales.
They're dolphins.
No, they're dolphins technically. But it was like the Portuguese for killer whale, whatever it is, and then the English translation of that should have been whale killers, but whoever translated it got it backwards and it just stuck, so it's always killer whales. But yeah, if the headline is trying to like demonize them, then they're killer whales. But if they're like, oh, soft and friendly, then they're orcas.
I've always called them orcas personally. I think that's a cool name.
Yeah.
Other than in this video, if I title it, it's going to be Killer Whales.
Killer whales are after your
Jobs.
dogs.
Jobs. Jobs. Next week, we've got a new presenter. It's Greg the Killer Whale. Oh dear.
I've missed this.
Randomness, mate. Yeah, man.
I've been sat at home with my two dogs and my fiance. She's still been going to work because she's a nurse, so she has to. But yeah, I've just been sat at home alone, not talking to anybody, doing my civic duty. But yeah.
So I've been talking to a nearly 5-month-old. He's just learned to scream like not when he's upset. So when he's upset, you know, baby's crying, screaming stuff. So literally, like, we'll be sitting down watching TV, or I'll be watching TV. He'll be on his playmat or whatever, and then he'll just go. You're just like, what? And then he does it during the night time. I'm quite tired tonight. He was doing it like obviously where he's learning his finding his voice, but it sounds like there's a demon in the house. So, you know, what is that? It's like, it's just my kids, just Milo. He's finding his voice.
Let me call the priest.
Yeah, I said that to Gems. I was just like, I think we're gonna have to, exorcism. It's when his head starts spinning round. That's when I'm gonna get worried. But that's my Christmas. I had a lovely time though. But yeah, it's nice to be back. It's good to be avalanche and wag. It's good to see your beautiful face. And talking about your beautiful face, today's episode was sponsored by Mark's Beard. You can't get Mark's Beard anywhere else, but you can grow your own beard. And then maybe one day that beard will sponsor Daily Deco.
Yeah. If there are any other sponsored divers out there, then tag us. Take a photo of yourself and sort of upload it onto Instagram. Tag Simply Scuba, because we want to see you other bearded scuba divers.
That's it.
Because it seems to be, it's a really hot topic. Every time someone sort of brings it up, and it's like, oh, but you're a scuba diver. It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, what about your mask leaking? It's like, well, there's ways around it.
Do you know how many times I've had to direct people to our the video where we said about beard and mask? I swear, that's within a job itself. Just like, how'd you dive with a beard, Mark? I'm like, we've done a video.
Watch this.
Watch this.
Well, the one that always got me was when I was talking with Sarah from Girls That Scuba, and we did a live like Q&A to like all of her sort of gang and viewers, and it's like, oh, so what questions have you got? It's like, oh, how do you dive with a beard? And it's like, girl-focused questions.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
That was kind of eye-opening, and it's just kind of like, well, okay, yeah, maybe we do need to do something on how to dive with facial hair, because it's not impossible.
Wouldn't know, mate. I haven't shaved in a year. Oh, I'm here all day, guys. Help me. Right, let's on that bombshell, guys. Let's end today's story. Let's end today's video.
Oakley. Yes, if you have any questions, let us know down in the comments below, and sort of Shaun or myself will answer them on Friday's Q&A show. On Saturday or Sunday, I haven't quite decided. Yeah, we're going to do that. That
Sunday, I've decided Sunday.
It's going to be on Sunday.
Yes. It's gonna replace the deep dive just for that one, once a month, just like the new one used to be.
Yeah, that'll be fine. So yeah, we'll do. I'll basically go through the website. I'll see what's kind of new and interesting, and sort of anything that catches my eye. Because especially if you're new to the sport, then you can sort of look around and everything kind of blends in together. Whereas it is quite interesting to see all the new stuff and the new sort of materials and stuff. And I promise I will read up on what the surface wetsuit is actually made out of.
Chicken. Manufactured chicken.
Recycled chicken bits. No, it's not. I promise it's not. So that'll be on Sunday. We'll have the Saturday surface interval. I've started writing it, but I can't remember what I'm writing about. That's just the way I roll.
Excellent.
But yeah. Any questions? Pop them down in the comments below. If you have any interesting news stories, if you've just done anything underwater interesting, let us know down in the comments below, and we might even mention you on tomorrow's show. Yeah, thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.
Stay classy, scuba divers.